The guy wants to steal some equipment. He sets off a fire alarm. The door's unlocked because it's an emergency. You're going to escape, and then he can nick some equipment and go.
Welcome to Talking Fire with the Fire Detection Industry Association. Today we've got a new topic, something that's come up and popped its head up in our Cape Town Roadshow, and it's something that needs to be addressed, and that's unwanted alarms and false alarms. What is the difference and how to rectify it, and what is considered to be too many? So just to start, an unwanted alarm, Clive, shall I pass over to you?
Yeah, putting me on the spot here as if I know what I'm doing. Okay. Unwanted alarms, as far as the understanding is a lot of people phone us and go, your fire system is rubbish, it's giving us false alarms. If you've got a detection system in and it gets activated by a proper fire condition or smoke condition, and now I'm saying proper, whereas there's smoke in the room, Joe's made breakfast and he's burnt the toast and it sets off the detector. That's not a false alarm. The system is working correctly. It's seeing smoke and it's activating. However, it's an unwanted alarm because there isn't actually a fire. There's smoke, but it's not actually fire. So then that has to be addressed by putting in a different kind of detector there, for instance. So if you've installed a optical smoke detector in the kitchen, well, change it to a heat detector if the guys are a bit careless with the way they cook in their food. You would have a manual call point activated by a staff member because they thought that the red button there that says in case of fire break loss is actually to unlock the door. So that's an unwanted alarm because the system is working correctly. However, it's not a fire condition. So that's what an unwanted alarm would be. Okay,
then obviously a false alarm. So you touched on a staff member breaking a manual call point, and this is the one, having read the standard specifically on this topic, is when unwanted alarm and a false alarm can be this same thing under different scenarios.
Correct.
So an unwanted alarm would be somebody breaking a manual call point, assuming there's a fire when there actually was not a fire.
Yes.
And a false alarm would be a staff member breaking a manual call point to be spiteful, as an example.
Correct.
So that is the difference between a false alarm and an unwanted alarm. Once again, a false alarm would be somebody setting off a detector specifically for the reason to activate the alarm. So generating smoke on purpose in order to evacuate a building or whatever it may be. That falls under the false alarm and not the unwanted alarm.
Yeah.
So there's quite a bit of, it gets quite involved.
And it gets very blurry when you're looking at the two scenarios. Where a lot of systems, they connected to your access control. So the guy wants to steal some equipment. He sets off a fire alarm. The door's unlocked because it's an emergency. You're going to escape, and then he can nick some equipment and go. So that's a false alarm, but the system is still, so it's not working properly because it's been overridden by some failure in the system, let's say.
Yeah. So in terms of rectification, I think more so on the unwanted alarm side of things is I know that hotels, many hotels have had the issue with regards to smoke detectors being installed close to a bathroom and steam from the shower activating the optical detector. They went back to the drawing board and now they use combination CO detectors. Yeah. So we're looking for carbon monoxide as opposed to smoke to prevent that happening. Also in a lot of residents. I know that I was involved with a residence once where girls' hair products and hair dryers was generating smoke. Mm-hmm. Why and how, I wasn't quite sure. But once again, there was a lot of unwanted alarms because the system was working correctly, but we were evacuating every Friday and Saturday night. We were evacuating an entire res.
Because they're getting ready to go out.
Exactly. So there, once again, we looked at the different options.
Yeah.
So this is obviously going back to certification and documentation as to why it is so important to write down fire alarms, to use your logbook correctly, because unless this information is portrayed to the service company or to your contractor, they will never know what the problems are.
Correct, yeah.
And so I think in the standards, it does dictate the number of alarms that are allowed per certain detector in terms of false alarms before either replace a detector for being faulty or look at different technology. And there's obviously quite a lot of technology out there There's triple sense detectors.
The technology has just moved on so much. It's like when we started with this, you had a heat detector, an ionization, and a smoke detector. Now you're getting a raft of detectors, so you should be able to select the right equipment to stop the false alarm. And like you say, the standard does say that, and I'm going to have to check it out. I don't know what the stats are, but it's like two false alarms per 100 detectors over a 6-month period, something to that.
Yes.
There is some kind of stat on that. And if you as the client don't make notes of the alarms that are going off, me as a contractor, I don't know how to solve the problem.
In closing off our video, I think it's quite important for the end users to understand what an unwanted alarm is and report back to their contractor, as well as contact the FDIA if you do have any questions. I've personally been in a hotel where they had a false alarm or an unwanted alarm, whatever it may be, and we were all kicked out of bed at 2 a.m. and thrown into the cold while they investigated. That's obviously not ideal for the hotel group. It's not ideal for the patrons. It's not ideal for anybody. And these situations can be rectified with a bit of communication. So if people please jump on our website, have a look at our members list, contact our members, contact us directly, and we are more than happy to offer advice and prevent fire systems being a disruption. I think that's at the end of the day what we want to achieve is, as we say, where there's smoke, there's not always fire, contrary to the cliche. But let's get the fire systems working correctly.